All right, everyone, here we are with another video with Invest for Tomorrow. And to all the first time viewers and investors, welcome to the channel. And to all the subscribers, welcome back. So I'm going to talk about some stocks that have exploded within the last 2 weeks, and specifically the one on the screen that exploded today. Now, these are all stocks that I talk about over at the Discord and even on the Patreon. And some of these have had some multiple days of jumps, right? So if this is all something that interests you and you want to gain access to my weekly watch list over at the Patreon, the link is down below. And if you want to see my daily watch list and opportunities, the link is down below to the Discord. We have 90 plus members already, intelligent and smart investors collectively, all as a community. And if you want to become part of it, we look forward to have you join us. We are all in a goal, and that one goal is to make money, maximize profits, minimize losses, and become better investors. So we got quite a list here. So I went ahead and talked about Clover Health on the 11th. I stated everything going on with it and why it jumped, and my personal opinion, right? This is not financial advice or anything like that, or I'm telling you to buy, sell, or hold any positions, but anything below $10 is interesting to me. And it was actually sitting at around close to $8 at that time. Let's go ahead and look at it here. It was at $8.21 and it jumped high, right? It jumped almost to $9 and some change on the news. And I pointed out some key interesting points here, and it actually started to pull back downwards after that, right? And we saw it pulling downwards. When I put this here at $7.29, I emphasized that for a reason. I was looking for that support because that could be the next point of consolidation after pulling back, or the next point before a jump. So I pointed that out. I didn't state it on the post. I circled it here. It was every Patreon member's basically homework to look at that and pay attention to that. And then I also circled the price, the current price. And when we look here, right, at this chart as it was pulling downwards, I would missed it by a little bit. It hit a low of 713, but where it consolidated was close to 730, 729. I pointed that out for a reason. And then from that point forward is where it took off, right? It gave us 20% closing on the day, and it hit a high here of $10, giving 30% plus. Now, it doesn't mean that I told you about it here and it was guaranteed that this was going to happen. You wanted to watch it for weakness, and you had two approaches. You would either swing trade this, day trade this, or if you really like the investment and the stock and the company, you look at it as a long-term opportunity. But I'm here to maximize profits, minimize losses, regardless of what your goal is, because I focus in on, like I stated, 729 is the support I was looking for to get the best price before the next jump, or the best price within that week. And we saw that. That's a clear example of what goes on the weekly watch list. Now, what goes on in the Discord is a little bit different. So these are two that I talked about within the last week. I talked about SFET at 160, and then I talked about dogs at 215, right? I talk about what they're doing and why they're up and what's making them run. So SFET at 160, it ran from this point up to about 170, right? It gave us 10 cents there. That was close to almost 5%. Pulled back and ran up, giving a high of about 15 to 20%, hitting close to the 180 plus mark, right? Getting really close to that area. So that was one that jumped. Then another one that we had was dogs, right? So dogs was in the situation that it was sitting at 215. It was kind of consolidating. It had jumped up and towards the bell ran from 215 all the way up close to 253, 254, and then collapsed. So this is all about timing too. This is not like you just jump in and it's going to go up. You got to catch the dips or catch them while they're consolidating, and pay close attention to volume behavior. There's a lot to learn. It's not like you just jump in and, you know, just because I state a stock, it's going to go up, stuff like that. It doesn't work like that. Now, here's another one that I mentioned, right? And you can't see it in this screenshot here because this is a screenshot in regards to the next day, because these are other stocks that I mentioned that did pretty well as well. One gave almost 30%. The other one gave around 10%. But this is what I want you guys to focus on. This stock, when I first mentioned it, it was close to $3. and I had stated it has to pull back. It was like at 302, between 302 and 305, close to 304, around that area. And it had jumped back to it at the point that I did this message. But BTBT was sitting around there, and I stated this needs to fall between $2.90 and $3. We need to watch for weakness and see how volume picks up, basically, in the previous message to that one. And here we have BTBT fell close to $2.90. It hit like $2.89, $2.88, and then it bounced up 8%, coming back up close to $3.02 and 3 cents, and then pulled down to a low, right, close to 277, and it ran up, right, for an exit of 15% jump, right, closer to 15 to 20%, but it ran up big from 277 all the way up close to 340, 345, around that area, okay, and then it pulled back, and that was another opportunity of entry, and ran up to 370. So if you caught it at this dip or right here and you rode it for the day, regardless, you had opportunities to make 8%, 10%, 15%, 20%, even up to 30% on the day, 30% plus. This was a home run. Will this happen every day? No. But this was an awesome home run that I mentioned, and I stated clearly what to look for. And when it was at 304, it seemed to be a wall, and if that got broken through, it was awesome. And then I also asked everyone, hey, did you guys see the high of 355 so far? It went even higher than that. Did anyone take a shot? I was talking to the Patreon members. Another one I talked about was BTBT, and I also talked about MBRX. They did really well for that week. But these are other ones here that I talked about. So let's look at this one. 10X, right? TENX. This is 10X Therapeutics Inc. They had news come out. I mentioned it at 202. Jumped up, right, for a 10% within minutes. Pulled back. Hit a low here of about 205 and jumped up 20% in just an hour, hitting 245 at the high. That was spectacular. This was another home run on the 9th. That was the day after. So another one that we did was here, and that is BTBT. This is the one I talked about. So I did mention it when it was around $18. I stated it jumped from $15 to $18, and I stated there in that screenshot there, it's running, it needs volume, it's below 1 million, and then I state a little bit who they are, and that this could have a sympathy play, right, with everything that has to do with Bitcoin and Coinbase coming out. So it pulled back pretty hard, and it ran from that point forward all the way up to $19, right? That gave a big opportunity, right? When I mentioned it, entry point, first opportunity to get out, and second opportunity to get out, depending on how bullish you felt. Now, another one I mentioned, right, which is Clover Health, back to it again to emphasize this for the week. This has nothing to do with the Discord. This was the weekly watch list, is the fact that I circled, right, to put emphasis on what to look for, where it looked even more interesting than below $10. And then I also point out the RSI, what's going on the MACD, and what you want to watch for. And then throughout that week, all it did was actually pull back, right? We saw it slightly jump up, right, on the beginning of the week. And if I pull it up, you can see it here on the 12th. It pulled down, it just fell, and then it jumped up to level off. And then it continued holding itself between the 13th, the 14th, and collapsed. The 15th hit a low, and it was sitting around 729, 730 range, right around that area that I stated and I circled. And from that point forward, this stock jumped today, right? Big opportunity. This stock was explosive, but not any more explosive than the others that we find on the Discord. This one was a little bit more slower, and this was all about the anticipation that was coming. Now, did I expect it to happen within this same week? No. I expected it in the next following week or the next weeks to come. Well, it certainly happened pretty fast. Now, this is definitely a stock to do more research on and see how it continues to react moving forward. As always, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If it interests you, and you want to be part of this in our community that's 90 plus members, we're on our way to 100. You can join us. The links are down below to the Discord and Patreon. We look forward to having you join us, and it's a community where we're looking to learn and grow together to maximize profits and minimize losses. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money.